Can you just give us a bit of an overview of yourself and your AHPRA story?
What then happened was, after receiving the first complaint, AHPRA sort of embarked on this covert investigation for about between 9 and 12 months. So they were investigating me, but they didn't tell me that I had a complaint made. They didn't tell me they were investigating me. I found out about it. They finally told me about it about between 9 and 12 months in. In fact, the way they told me about it, the way I first heard about it was a couple of their investigators turned up to my practice demanding to see my, demanding to see papers and things, but employed these forensic investigators to comb through the whole internet, basically, and that came up with a 2,000-page 2,000 pages of a printout or whatever of material. Most of it's actually not me. Most of it's just other people involved in conversations of which I've been a part. But they even contacted Facebook company and demanded and threatened them and said, we want you to hand over Jareth's entire Facebook profile so we can see everything he's ever said, including things that he hasn't said publicly. And fortunately, Facebook in America just said to them, sorry, get lost. We're not going to do that. We're not subject to your laws, and they decided to suspend me. That happened very, very quickly. It moved from a Friday afternoon to the following Thursday. Within 4 days, I'd gone from sitting in front of my patients consulting to being suspended. It was on those grounds of what I'd said online and what they dug up, and that was over a 10-year period. So some of it goes back to 2010. Things that had been buried in a friend of mine has a blog, and I've commented on his blog in conversations about his articles as far back as 2010. Back when everyone used to have blogs and before people moved on to Twitter and whatever. So. So going back to some of this archaeological material from a decade ago and all 2,000 pages of it, they decided, I'm saying the wrong things, thinking the wrong things, and it's a danger to the public and not to my patients though. So they didn't sort of allege any kind of harm to patients. So was this instant suspension completely out of the blue, no opportunity to kind of wind up my practice, hand over my patients. That couldn't do any of that, and that was that. So I've been sitting in this state of suspension now for going on 3 years. For about 2 years of that, they just sort of sat on it doing nothing. It was just sort of, my file must have been sitting on a shelf there, and while they were busy doing other things. And then finally, at the end of last year, they took my file back off the shelf and said, we'd better get round to dealing with this.